And we are here at Field 1 of the North American Invitational Sevens. I am Liz Entwistle, and we are here for the final of the Boys U18 Elite Cup quarterfinals. This is Atlantis' U17 team wearing green, playing off against the Celtic Barbarians wearing red. Celtic Barbarians, a mostly Canadian-based outfit, but they are a touring side that draws from America as well. We got a little bit of a roster update from their coach, Cam Wilton. Had a fantastic time chatting with him last night, all about rugby development. It was a great little summit between a lot of the coaches and a lot of the organizers of these many programs from all over the USA and Canada. The one thing, Cam, I'm sorry to say is I'm actually missing the jersey numbers for your players, so we'll do my very best. But some highlights, we have players from Druids RFC, one of the Edmonton-based sides, from the Canucks in Calgary, from Cowichan in Duncan, Canada, Capilano in Vancouver. Then we have Motherlode Rugby represented from California. We have players from Idaho, including a couple of Eagle Impact players. The one player I do remember is Kyle Van Tonder, who is the number 7 from this Celtic Barbarian side. He had a magnificent tournament yesterday, one of the players that stood out. I think they may have changed a couple of their jerseys today, so I'll get confirmation as best I can. And then they have a couple players as well from the local Utah Cannibals team, again, coached by Cam Wilton, assistant coach Jack Taylor. It is Atlantis Rugby on the attack right now. This Atlantis U17 teams, I'm going to be biased. They are one of my favorite teams in the tournament. So fun to watch. It is their number 6, John Dorman. He was the player of the day yesterday, a fantastic player that just fantastic running lines, responsible for a lot of the tries, a lot of tries setting up. And he does it again, opening up a scoring here, 5-0, 1 minute and 30 seconds into this opening half of play. We'll look for the conversion kick. Of course, a little bit of water on the field. We are facing temperatures all week long, 102, 104. Still a bit cool this morning. A nice little breeze here at the Regional Athletic Complex in Salt Lake City, Utah. The conversion kick is made, so it's going to be a 7-0 lead for Atlantis, courtesy of the John Dorman tribe. John Dorman playing his rugby in Westchester, Pennsylvania. This Atlantis U17 team drawing players from Florida, Pennsylvania, the Washington, D.C. area, New York, and Texas. So well represented with a lot of the eastern part of the United States. And similarly, this Celtic Barbarian side featuring players from Alberta, from BC, and then from California, and a couple local players from Utah as well. Yesterday in action, this Atlantis team went 3-0. They defeated Play Rugby USA 33-0, 26-5 over Harriman, and 35-14. Sorry, it was 35-14 was the Atlantis other team over the Celtic Barbarians. So Celtic Barbarians did fall to the Atlantis Black U18 team. It was Atlantis 2 that had opened the tournament yesterday with a 22-10 win over the Atavis Selects. The Celtic Barbarians so then played the Atlantis first side. They were victorious 22-0 over the Rocky Mountain Rebels. And trying to find the results from their final game yesterday. But regardless, they played their way here into the Cup quarterfinal. It is going to be an Atlantis scrum, courtesy of the Celtic Barbarian infringement. This Celtic Barbarian side featuring quite a few rookies. We have Garrett Shepard and Jared Collado out of the Motherlode team, noted as rookies with this Barbarians team. Quinn Williams from Rocky Mountain out of Idaho, and Kay Trowbridge and Nolan Tuamaloa from the Utah Cannibals also making their debuts. And it is this Kyle Van Tonder that was a player that did stand out yesterday, playing with Eagle Impact Academy in Idaho, South African raised. They grew up in Northern California, but recently moved to Idaho about 6 months ago. His father wanted me to make sure that we were aware that he is an American player, although he is playing on this Canadian team. And this is something that really speaks to the spirit of the game of rugby. We have so many teams out here helping each other with rosters, as a couple teams did travel a bit short. A lot of local players from Utah getting some extra time in. This Utah Cannibals team, one of their all-state teams. We see the Utah Rhinos out here. We see the Barbarians, of course, the Utah Lions, the host team in the tournament. We have another scrum here to Atlantis. About 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in this opening half of play. Well done on the scrum. Quick in and quick out. That is number 4, Owen Sheehy from Gonzaga out of Washington, D.C. He is a national champion with that Gonzaga high school program. Fantastic coaching out there. Hello to Peter Baguetta and Farah Douglas if you happen to be watching. And congratulations to Farah on her girls high school All-Americans victories. Yesterday, the East All-Americans taking on Rugby Quebec, and victorious in both of their U16 and U18 matches. So we see the Celtic Barbarians with a little bit of a ball in hand. An unfortunate knock-on. It's going to be a scrum down to Atlantis, but Atlantis' coach not pleased with the defensive realignment in that particular series of plays. So I'm sure that's something that'll be addressed at halftime. This Atlantis coaching staff, quite experienced. This team coached by Greg Shore, son Chase Shore, playing on the playing his rugby at West Pines out of Florida, and Chase wearing the #1 jersey for this Atlantis team. So it's Atlantis with ball in hand. A nice little behind the back pass. It's Mike Weir from Doylestown that's the beneficiary, wearing the #5. That's the V for anyone not familiar with the Roman numerals. And it is a Celtic Barbarian turnover. So Celtic with the ball. They informed us you do not indeed need to have Celtic blood to be qualified for this team. They take players and just looking to develop and play a lot of rugby. This is a solid carry by the young man wearing the #13 jersey. So a solid carry by Atlantis, but intercepted on the offload by the Celtic Barbarians. That was Dan Bark from Archmere, Pennsylvania, wearing the #3 for Atlantis. But well done by Celtic on the intercept. They've got one player to beat here. That is their sweeper, Mike Weir, the Doylestown, wearing the #5 jersey for Atlantis. Is a good ruck over from this vantage point, but the referee says no. There is a penalty play called, perhaps on not releasing, not quite certain of the call, didn't catch the signal. But now we're going to see a yellow card issued. And one of our Celtic Barbarians going to spend 2 minutes on the bench here with the yellow card for the sin bin. Carded for not being back 10 on that penalty. So it's, again, another Atlantis penalty. They've got the 1-man advantage for 30 seconds left here in the first half of play. That'll also carry over to the first minute and a half of the second half. So Atlantis looking to score. Great hands here on the outside. Well done moving that ball to open space, taking advantage of that 1-man advantage on the field. So Atlantis with a try to close the half. That's going to bring the score to 17-0 in their favor. See if we can't get score verification after this kick. My apologies. So our kickers do have 30 seconds to take their kicks. I'm sure Celtic Barbarians don't mind Atlantis taking their time, as this time will count against the sin bin. The kick is good. That is going to be a 19-0 lead for this Atlantis U17 team going into halftime. Listed as Atlantis 2 on the tournament website, but it is not a 1 and 2 split. They just did it based on age. So it is the U18s in black, the U17s in teal. We'll be back with the second half of action in just a moment.
I am your fortress on the front line of sport. Engineered to be stronger than the attack. I defy convention by protecting more with less. Helping you breathe easier, hydrate faster, speak more clearly. I am Sisu, and I fend for you.
U18 Elite Cup quarterfinals. It is Atlantis Rugby in green taking on the Celtic Barbarians in red. It is Atlantis Rugby with a 19-0 lead over the Celtic Barbarians. As we start the second half of action. So Celtic currently down one man. They do have a player that is in the sin bin from an earlier infringement. There was a penalty. The player did not get back 10 and attempted to make the tackle. But now it is Atlantis causing some uncharacteristic penalties. I know their coaches can't be too pleased. This is usually a very disciplined side. Again, this is the Atlantis U17 team. We did get an update from Field 2 where it was Eagle Impact Rugby winning 24-17 over Play Rugby USA, a game that went to overtime. So 3 of the 4 teams decided so far when it comes to the boys U18 Elite semifinals. The winner of this match will be the 4th. We're going to have the Atlantis U19s, Eagle Impact from California, Upright Rugby from Canada, and we'll either have another Canadian team with this Celtic Barbarian side or another USA team with these Atlantis U17s.
What?
Is that score right? I thought it was 19.
It was team bonding, yeah, that's... But sure. We don't expect any luck. The thing I wonder is whether or not we all did it. Like when they on this course is laughing. Hey! I forgot about that.
So it's currently Celtic Barbarians, now 7 men back on the field. It is Atlantis Rugby with the lead. We do have a score correction, 14-0 being told by our number 4 referee, so my apologies there. And we do have some jersey numbers and some changes from the game yesterday. A couple of quick updates. We have Jacob Harline wearing the number 9 jersey. Plays his rugby for the Druids out of Sherwood Park, Canada. Was a former volleyball star and child model. He's looking at attending either UBC, that's University of British Columbia, or BYU. So if either of these teams are watching, take note. Number 9, you get yourself a poster child for your rugby program with his modeling skills. I'm sure he can bring some blue steel to your clubs. And then number 13, Nick Taylor, plays for the Calgary Canucks. He's a Canada U17 camp invitee and will be attending Lindenwood University in St. Charles, Missouri in the fall. So we've seen quite a few of our girls players that have played for Lindenwood, quite a few programs here with alumni, and that Lindenwood coach Billy Nicholas is here. He coaches their women's program, and we'll see if we can get him in the booth later today, as he's quite familiar with this Atlantis team as one of their coaches. Obviously not coaching today, but has coached several times at New York Sevens, Vegas Sevens, and the Tobago Sevens tournament. We have a penalty shown to Atlantis. This time Celtic sure that they are going to be 10 meters back for the penalty. The tap and go from this Atlantis U17 side. And that's an offload to the big man Chase Shore. That was their number 10, Colzino from Rock, Texas on the tap. And here he is breaking through again. Correction there, Mike Weir from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Mike Weir, one of the try scorers for Atlantis earlier in the game. And there it is, the guy, Colzino, wearing the number 10 for Atlantis with the ball, taking it down to the ruck. And we see the pass wide through the hands of Mike Weir, now in the fly-off or first receiver position. A punishing tackle, well read by the Celtic Barbarians. It's actually one of the Atlantis coaches in another tournament that quoted one time, that's what happens when you go straight hands. It was a good read by the Celtic Barbarians defense. It is Atlantis still with the ball, and it is going to be a penalty to Atlantis. And the referee is going to add an extra 10 meters here. Didn't like what the Celtic Barbarians had to say in reaction to that call. So Atlantis with the ball in hand. That's going to be Sam Lohman from Pelham, New York, taking the tap. And Atlantis with their full numbers to the right side. A little bit of deception here. Mike Weir attempting the one-on pass. It goes forward as he's tackled. Credit to the Celtic Barbarians defense. And I believe that is one of their Utah Cannibals players. You can tell by their shorts, they've got a little bit of the tribal design on the side. So we have Kay Trowbridge and Nolan Tuamiloa. So both of those young men representing the Utah Cannibals team, a couple players from Idaho and Quinn Williams and Kyle Van Tonder, a couple players from California, Garrett Shepard and Jared Collado, and of course the normal contingent of Canadians coming from Alberta and BC on this Celtic side. We got a little bit of a break in the action. We got Waters onto the field. The quick conversation between Captain Mike Weir and the referee. So water's on. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we have a resume in play here after Celtic made quite a few different player substitutions, taking a minute here because of the jersey situation. They've got several local players that added on. At one point, their coaches told me that they were just putting numbers on their legs, but I haven't been able to discern it from my commentator's booth. It is Atlantis on the attack here off of the scrum. That is their number 10 out of Texas. Diving for the try, not quite there. It's Chase Shore with the ball right now, the young man playing his rugby in Florida. Of course, one of his dad, one of the coaches with this Atlantis team, and it is a daylight for Atlantis. Number 9, Sam Lohman from Pelham, New York with a try. Remembering that tries just need to be grounded. They have removed the requirement for downward pressure. So Sam Lohman doing well. Atlantis' third try of the match. Now it is 19-0. I jumped the gun earlier, and I guess I added an extra try. So 19-0, the Atlantis U17 lead over the Celtic Barbarians side. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the game. So again, this Atlantis program is no stranger to success, running multiple youth teams, a recent addition as of the last 2 years or so. They have been around since 1986, 30 years of magnificent rugby coming from Atlantis Rugby for a long time, providing the pipeline to the USA national team for sevens. It is their emperor, their director, Emil Signes, that coached the men's and women's sevens for quite some time, also coaching at Princeton University and a presence in Pennsylvania. So we are all indebted to Emil for the work he has done to grow the game in sevens. Over 1,200 players coming from Atlantis Rugby, wearing their Roman numeral kit. Some famous Eagles that we've had involved with their program, including Olympian Carlin Isles, when he was first learning the game of rugby, played in Aspen for a bit and was invited on Atlantis tours. Longtime rugby sevens player and current expert commentator Dallin Stanford, one of their more notable men's players as well. But almost anyone that's been an Eagle has worn an Atlantis jersey at some point. They have produced over 200 players between the men and the women's team alone. In addition to several coaches, the amount of women's players that have gone on to coach at the national side level, quite impressive. We got the list of over 15 names, courtesy of the girls' manager, Diane Ramage. Diane's still out here, despite the fact that her daughter, Allie Ramage, is not on tour. Allie was called into High School All-Americans East duty. Her other daughter, Kat Ramage, a veteran of these Atlantis tours, played in the Youth Olympic Games in Nanjing, China, and is currently in her sophomore year at Dartmouth University. Kat Ramage was the Rookie of the Year across all sports, across both genders. So producing some magnificent athletes coming out of these Pennsylvania and New Jersey schools and from this Atlantis program. Their lead extended to 21-0 with the successful conversion kick. There's going to be official time kept on the field by the referee. Of course, time stopped with some changes in the player changes and substitutions. Of course, the stoppage that we had just now and with the earlier yellow card. So final time determined by the ref. Atlantis with a 21-0 lead with just maybe a minute and change left to go in the second half of play. It is the Celtic Barbarians on the attack. A nice little boot from their number 11. It goes straight to touch. So we're going to bring it back to a line out from where that kick took place. Had he been back inside of his own 22-meter line, then the line out would be from where the ball went out of bounds. But as he was in front, we're going to have a line out brought back. And that will be an Atlantis throw. So a bit slow on the line out setup here, of course, preserving their energy, conserving fresh legs. This Atlantis U17 team looking strong to advance their way into the Cup semifinal, unless we can find some Celtic magic here and get 3 tries out of them in the final minute of play. So it looks like we should have the winners from the Atlantis game against Eagle Impact. That would be the Atlantis 1 game earlier when they took out Harriman Rugby 38-33. So the Atlantis U19s should be matched up against Eagle Impact in the first of the semifinals. The second semifinal, we may well see this Atlantis U17 team against Upright Rugby. We'll verify that with the tournament. If you want to get an inside scoop on the information, check out the scores and schedules at nai7s.com. You can also follow on Twitter at NAI_7S. And of course, updates with Golf Rugby Report with the men and the breakdown with the women. Alex Goff and Jackie Finland both providing magnificent coverage of the tournament this weekend. Looks like we got some time for a couple of final plays. It is Atlantis with the put in on the scrum. Going out to their fly half, Mike Weir. We see the dummy switch and looking to pass wide outside. Still collected. It is their number 8, Brian Stella from Doylestown. Luke Persons from Pelham, New York. Brian Stella wearing the number 7 kit from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, but it was Luke Persons on the outside. So we see Atlantis looking for space. 3 men out far wide. They've got the numbers outside. The pass does get there, floating its way out to Colzino from Rock, Texas. He's got the bend and support on the outside. Celtic doing a good job to realign defensively, but Jazz gets it around the corner. A great offload to this number 1, Chase Shore out of West Pines, Florida. So Atlantis currently leading 26-0 off of the try from Chase Shore. We'll see a conversion attempt from Mike Weir. And that is the game, 26-0. Atlantis U17s advancing into the Cup semifinals. So the Cup semifinals will see Atlantis U17, Atlantis U19, Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, and the Upright Rugby Rogues. The other 4 teams going to make their way into the Plate Championship. We'll have more action from Field 1 here at the Regional Athletic Complex, Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm Liz Entwistle on behalf of the North American Invitational 7.